Okay, in the last video, we got the yellow fish to move randomly and then get eaten. One thing we did miss was I forgot to put in a show command at this point here. So what I need to do now is fix that up. So go to looks, move down to show so it actually appears, and set it unto there. So that means that it will show after it's moved, got eaten, move around, and then appear again. The next thing we're going to be looking at is how to make more yellow fish, because it's a bit boring just having one fish. Simply what we can do is we can right click on that and go duplicate. Right click on that and go duplicate. Right click on that and go duplicate. We want them all to be seen. So see it says show here. So we'll just make sure that these are all showing. And if we run this, you can see us eating our fish. And our score is going up as we go. So it's all working as we would have expected it to. So that's good. All right, the next thing is we need to create the red fish sprite. Now the red fish is going to be the fish that ends the game, resets the score to 0, and basically starts it all over. To get the red fish, you'll need to go back to Simon, and if you go to Year 7 Digital Technologies and Class Resources and Topic Resources, select the Introductory Programming, and then you will see a redfish GIF here. If you download that, the redfish will be in your downloads folder. Okay, so we want to add a redfish sprite. We go to create a sprite, we go up to upload a sprite, and there is our redfish GIF. If we double click that, there's our redfish, and it's way too big. So we're going to be reducing that, of course, and then having that swim around the game. Okay, with the redfish, we're going to set the size. We won't set it by code this time. We'll just set it here, and we're going to set it at 15%. So when we set it at 15, you'll see that the redfish becomes a lot smaller. Now, we want the redfish to move sort of like the yellow fish. So what we can do is click on the yellow fish, double click the yellow fish, go to the where we see when the red flag is clicked, the green flag rather, right click, duplicate. Now that makes a second amount of code. What I want to do is drag it so that it goes over the redfish. If we look now at the redfish, here's the redfish, you can see it has now picked up all the code from the yellow fish. Two things you want to change. First of all, we don't want it to increase the score. And second of all, we want to make a different sound. So we want to make, instead of a pop, we're not going to do that. We'll go to, where are we, sounds. We haven't got a sound for the redfish yet, so we'll go to find a sound. And so we're going to use a suspense sound, which is a little bit sort of creepy. You might be able to find some better ones. And then what we're going to do is go back to our redfish. Oh, we need to go back to code, of course. And we want the suspense sound to play instead of the pop when it touches the shark. Now, the other thing that we'll need to do is to change the shark code so that when it touches the redfish, the game starts. So let's have a look at the shark code. So if touching yellowfish, we want to put in another if statement in here. So what I'm going to do is just drag this out here, and then maybe a bit further down, and it's going to be a little bit different. So we need to go to control, then if statement, and we want it if it's touching, so it's going to be sensing, if it's touching the redfish, then what is going to happen? Well, we're going to play the drum. So if we type in here drum, here we go, and we're going to have just the drum. So if we go back, now we've added the drum code, so if we go back to code, and we're going to have, when touching the redfish, we're going to switch the costume. Where's our looks? Switch our costume to shark to C, which is the third one in that series. And then we're going to repeat, where are we? Repeat by our control. We're going to repeat 10 times. Play the drum. We go to our sound. Play the sound. And change color effect. So we've put our drum sound in. The next is we're going to be actually changing the color effect. So we're going to put change color and effect by 50. It just varies the color a little bit. Okay, 50. Then we set score to 0. In other words, we've actually restarted the game. So we go to our variables and we set my variable to 0, and we want that to be a score. Then we wait a second. So we go to control, we wait 1 second, and then we switch costume to Shark A, which is the original costume that we have. So we can go to looks, we can go to switch costume to Shark A, and then we change the color effects back. So again, we look at looks, change the color effect. We're going to have that as 0. All right, so now we can put that there, join all of that up, and then that big program now we can stick in the forever loop that we took it out of, and that will complete our shark game. Oh, just about, actually. So let's just have a quick look what happens. So if we click this, okay, I'm just trying to figure out what was wrong here, and in fact I've realized that I should have put it inside a forever loop, and I didn't. So I press Control, bring out the forever loop, and I need to put all of this code inside the forever loop and put it there. And now it should work. Okay, so finally I've got it, I think, all together. If I click this, you can see that I've got the shark running around. it's eating the yellow fish with a pop, but if it hits the red fish, you can see the score's gone to 0 and it restarts the game. Okay, the other thing we need to do is to change the background of this, which is just white at the moment, so it's a bit boring. We need to change the backdrop. So if we click on backdrops, we can go to backdrops and we want something better than just white. So if we click on them, we can actually go to, if I go to water, we've actually got an underwater, a couple of underwaters. I'll choose this one. So now what we've got is an underwater stage for our game. If I click this, we can see that now shark is happily eating fish until it hits the red one rather, where it resets the game. And that is how to complete the game, the fish eating game on Scratch.